All right, so I'm just gonna look at some random stuff here, maybe bounce around a little bit. Just just to get a nice, easy video in here. And remember, this is a decoding channel. If you didn't know already, I know that tomorrow is Tupac's death anniversary, September 13th. I'm not sure exactly when I'm gonna release this video, but I'm recording this on September 12th. September 13th is Tupac's death date anniversary. So whatever we see here, we have to have it in our minds that we have a lot of this Tupac Shakur energy and just a character on the world stage, right? Like the stuff isn't real, but they present us with this information like it's a real world, and then later on in life we realize, oh, this stuff is all act, it's all fake. It's like pro wrestling, right? So I'm just going to randomly look at September 12th birthdays, which is today's date, and I might look tomorrow as well with the Tupac death anniversary. So let's go just famous September 12th birthdays. And again, this will just be probably random. I don't know. Maybe I'll title it differently afterwards. I'm not sure, but let's just see who has the Oh, Sydney Sweeney's birthday is today and she was trending. I covered that decode because Christy Martin, she's playing Christy Martin, who's a boxer in the new movie coming out called Christie. So that's interesting right there. Um, okay, I see it's Paul Walker's birthday right there. I've heard of him. And I'll Drewski Too Funny. Drewski, that's interesting because you get the two Instagram star Drewski Too Funny. You get that two like Tupac right there. And his birthday one day before Tupac's death anniversary right there. And just some other characters here. Two Chains. You see that right there? Come on, right? This is maybe I have a gift to see this stuff. You get the rap connection with Tupac. I mean, that's obvious. Tupac, Two Chains, born one day before the Tupac death. Obviously born a different year, but September 12th, Tupac dies September 13th. Look at that right there. Okay? He even has that album right there, his second album, Boats 2. And look, US Billboard 200. You see that? And look, in 2013. So there's that Tupac dead on the 13th of September right there. All of this stuff is scripted with the language and recycled with the words. And it's like insert character here. I want you to understand that. That's exactly what it is right there, okay? So, who else do we have on this list? And we'll probably go back and look at Drewski a little bit, Yao Ming, and there may be some connections right in front. Look, PVD Biggie. You see that right there? Like Biggie Smalls? Right? Notorious Biggie Smalls, obviously connected to Tupac with that East Coast, West Coast. Look at even a member of season 3 of the reality series Baddies West. Come on, man. Like East West, Biggie Tupac beef. The stuff is ridiculous. Okay? And again, there's going to be stuff like right in front of me here that I'm going to miss. I'm not trying to be stressed right now. I never try to be stressed. I'm just look at how I'm easily showing you the stuff is script, right? It's all a script, man. It doesn't mean you could go and individually break down all of these, and you can force connections, but that's more of like a rookie decoding strategy. And I'm not nothing against it because we've all been there, but I'm just trying to, it takes a while, I guess, to see some of this stuff quick as I do. But I'm just trying to show you quickly what I see. Like, I'm not trying to stretch none of this stuff, but you could go down and click on each of these individuals and you could find connections and force connections if you were to do that. But look how easy I show you that with the one day before Tupac's death anniversary. You get Drewski Too Funny's birthday, and you get 2 Chainz, and then uh, that other character that I just showed you with that West connection. And I already forgot what her name was, but yeah, you can rewind and look at that. Here's Drewski right here. Outrageous comedy content creator who rose to fame by posting skits and videos on his self-titled Instagram. You don't just rise to fame on your own, by the way. Okay? That's not how it works. They want you to think that that's how it happens, but that's not true. Okay? YouTube is not a platform where you just become famous. Like, you're going to be pushed in the algorithm if you're selling out. That doesn't mean necessarily that you're like signing some contract, but you're going along with like a narrative, or you may be like a low tier family member to somebody famous. Okay? Like, oh, so and so's my third cousin. It's like it's in the algorithm or something, right? And again, you don't got to take my word for it. These are just beliefs that I have. So he launched an agency called For Lifer Sports. That makes you think of Thug Life with Tupac. You see that? You just got to get familiar with the language there, okay? Drewski Too Funny, right? Now here's Tupac, and again you see that death anniversary September 13. So whenever this video releases, um just look at the date on your calendar. Look, you get that September 13 Tupac energy right there, okay? So let's actually look at September 13 famous birthdays. Might as well, right? Because that's the Tupac death anniversary. I see Tyler Perry. You do get T like Tupac, and Perry, you get the P like Pac. That's nothing like super amazing, but it's worth noting. Look, Playboy Cardi, P like Pac, and that's a rapper, right? So let's just go ahead and click on that. Playboy Cardi, I guess, is number one. I don't like the famous birthday list because they'll have like Instagram and YouTube stars. It's kind of like, I think the famous birthdays, I don't know, like it makes me think like it caters to younger people because I don't consider like all these Instagram TikTokers, I don't consider them like famous, but I guess nowadays they're the new celebrities, apparently. So you got Playboy Cardi right there, Tyler Perry. And again, there may be some things right in front of my face here that I'm missing. And this may just turn out to be a little Tupac connection video as well. Again, this is just like organic, hit record, hope the mic's on, and just kind of see what's up. Ben Savage, okay, he was connected to Boy Meets World. That was connected to Girl Meets World, which is connected to Sabrina Carpenter, right? Who has an album that just dropped called Man's Best Friend. So you see the actor known for his role as Corey Matthews, Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World, right there. He's got the Tupac death date anniversary as his birthday. And Ben Savage, you might think of 21 Savage, that's a rapper, right? Dave Mustaine, he was also trending recently because Megadeth has like some kind of farewell tour last album. And in that video I did on that breakdown, Dave Mustaine, I connected him to Kurt Cobain. You get Cobain, Mustaine. And the Kurt Cobain death was very similar to the Tupac death and how it affected kind of like the grunge rock community with Kurt Cobain as the Tupac death affected the rap community. Okay, so that's interesting. So some of these characters trending recently, and I've covered their trending stories, right? So let's just see a couple more here. And again, there may be some stuff right in front of my face here that I'm going to miss. If you notice it, just let me know. You get Sir Carter. Remember, these characters are recycled. The language is recycled here. Think about rappers Rick Ross. He's imitating supposedly a real gangster named Rick Ross, or gangster slash drug dealer, whatever he was. Think about 50 Cent. Supposedly, if I'm not mistaken, there was like a 50 Cent character in the hood, supposedly. Now you get the rapper 50 Cent. Think about Birdman, Cash Money, right? Rap affiliated. And you could look up Birdman. There's like an original Birdman, probably several. Okay, so the stuff is just recycled. Sir Carter, like Jay-Z Carter. Think about Beyonce. So you get Sir Carter, whoever that is, TikTok star. Like, you're really a star? And again, I don't agree with the order of this list because look, TikTok star, YouTube star, I guess that's going to be the new celebrity. Maybe that's going along with Hollywood, how it's kind of crumbling. Remember, we had big wildfires. Was that to kick off the year in 2025? Remember the Hollywood actors strike? Okay, there's kind of like a fall, like a new beginning kind of happening in the world. Whatever you want to call it. But okay, so that's that right there. Um I'm just gonna look at other random stuff here real quick. Let's just click on trending news and just see what pops up. I'm not gonna target anything specific. I'm just gonna see what pops up. Trending news right now. If it's anything different than Charlie Kirk, and it looks like it's not gonna be, maybe we can look at Martin Luther King Jr. And I don't plan on go. It's probably all gonna be Charlie Kirk. Duncan is giving out reusable Sabrina Carpenter cups. You see that? How to get yours, and she's trending with her new album, Man's Best Friend. Georgia ICE raid, netted workers with short-term business. No, no, no. Uh, right there. So what else? What else can we look at? Let's see. So let's go to the Gematria calculator real quick. And let me make sure I have a new one up right here. So let's enter. So today's date is September 12th. So let's just see like September. Okay, so you see September right there. Did I spell it right? No, I didn't. You got to spell it right, okay? All right, so look, September's got big political connections right there. Remember, this is the language right here. Right away, I see big political connections. And remember, Charlie Kirk did just get assassinated in September. And remember, we had the 9/11 anniversary, September 11th, right? So you see how that works? Obviously connected to politics. Okay, I'm trying to pull up a Charlie. I didn't know who this guy was before he got assassinated. They say he's all popular with the youth. Kind of like Tupac was popular with the youth, huh? And I mentioned Kurt Cobain with that connection with that death. So you see Charlie Kirk right there. Now, September. Okay, so look, let's go back over here real quick. Look at September has 40 like Tupac Shakur has 40. And there's that Tupac death date, the 13th day of the ninth month. So this is basically all going to center around Tupac. Okay? And now back with September. Look at you get 103. Notice the 40 again, but look at the 103 and 50. September 103 and 50. Politics 103, 50. And there's that 40 again. And 113 is like 13. The number for dishonesty equals 113. Okay? But look, you're seeing those same numbers, and even BS, which it's all BS, right? Look, 113, 103, there's the 50, there's the 31. You know, even Donald equals 50 and 31. You see that? So look at, I think there's even a 68 with Donald Trump somewhere in his name. But look at those 50s right there. So let's just, even that 140 has 40 in it right there. So wow, look at this right here, and we'll leave that. Remember when Trump had his scripted ear shooting? You know, there was a lot of Tupac energy. They were like comparing him playing Tupac music. You know, like, oh man, he just not a big deal. He gets shot. And, you know, he bounces back. Even though the second time Tupac got shot, he didn't bounce back. Think about 50 Cent, too. You see September 50, Politics 50, BS 50. 50 Cent was obviously a rapper kind of recycled off of Tupac, okay? And think about 50 Cent, who also got shot, right? Didn't Tupac get shot 5 times? I don't know if that was the second time, but I think there was something with that as well. But 50 like 5, 50 Cent, Tupac, you get the numbers. You could even go look at the rapper E40, and I saw some things pop up on my Facebook algorithm kind of combining the two, and I saw some interesting connections there as well. Look, and then there's that 40 right there. So Donald is obviously connected to politics and BS. And you see how that connects with September. Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. Okay. And Tupac Shakur's death anniversary is September 13, 2 days after 9/11. So, you know, 50 states, right? I think star equals 50, like, you know, stars and stripes. Star has 50. Star's got that 13, like 113 again, right? You know, 13 stripes on the flag, 13 original colonies. Think about like Friday the 13th. Even Star has 58. 5 plus 8 is 13. You see that right there? Right? And didn't somebody in Thug Life just pass a couple months ago connected to Tupac? Thug Life member killed. I know there's been a few of them. Uh, you know, oh look, Randy Walker. Remember Paul Walker's birthday is yesterday. Okay, remember we connected that all, remember that was one of the first things I mentioned here. But there was another rapper, we'll figure it out. But look at Randy Walker and how all of this connects to the Tupac death anniversary tomorrow. Look, his birthday was what, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Stretch, who's Randy Walker, and notice how he died November 30th, 1130. Remember Politics 113? BS 113. So look how Tupac and everything around him is connected to politics. And you see that Tupac connection with Trump. And this guy's even born in 68. And remember, I mentioned earlier, Tupac Shakur equals 68, right? So look at this. So this guy's real name is Randy Walker. And again, Paul Walker's birthday is one day before the Tupac death. You see that right there? Even this guy. Oh, this guy died the same day. This guy died the same day as Randy Walker, who was Stretch. On top of that Tupac death connection. Wow, look at this. Paul Walker death date November 30th. Randy Walker, who's Stretch, death date November 30th. Look at that right there. Come on. And there's that Queen connection. Okay, Queen Elizabeth II's death date anniversary was September 8th, just a few days ago. Remember Suge Knight connected with Tupac chess pieces, right? Knight, King, Queen, all of this King energy going on right now. Jerry the King Lawler has to cancel some events due to health reasons. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, his birthday a few weeks back. Madonna's birthday a few weeks back. Right? And I think it was it Elvis? Elvis's death date? A few weeks back. The king of rock and roll. So you see that? Isn't that amazing? Paul Walker died in a single vehicle collision as a passenger of a speeding car. Known for his role as Brian O'Connor in the Fast and Furious franchise, Paul Walker, the same death date as Randy Walker, who was Stretch, known by his stage name Stretch, working in Live Squad as a rapper, record producer in the early 90s. He joined Tupac's rap group Thug Life, and Young Thug is even trending right now. Isn't that amazing? And Paul Walker's birthday one day before the Tupac death anniversary. He's got the same death date. Paul Walker and Randy Walker. Isn't that amazing right there? Man, that's wild. So that's why I just hit record and I just go on this stuff. But who was the one who died recently? Recent Thug Life member dead. Man, all of these guys died. This still isn't the one that I'm thinking of. Big Psych. This still isn't the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of, I think, died right around the same time as Ozzy. I did that breakdown live, and I caught that live. Big Psych. I don't want to go down every member here. Oh, look, even Big Psych died right here. Thug Life and the Outlaws. Maybe it was an Outlaws member. I think it was an Outlaws member that died recently. I consider it almost like the same thing, Tupac connected, anyways. But look, Big Psych, he died December 5th. That's 2 days after Ozzy Osbourne's birthday. And Ozzy Osbourne, O, Outlaws, O. And then we just had the Outlaws member die recently. So look at Big Psych there. Best known for his work with Thug Life and Outlaws. He's got the December 5th birthday. Or the December 5th death date. And notice how he was born November 22nd. And the other guy died November 30th, 8 days after this birthday. So you can see how this stuff, if you're talking to normal people, they're like, huh, what? Right? It's their brain gets rattled. And Big Psych, like Notorious Big, connected to Tupac. Look at down here, defamation suit on 119 January 19. That connects with the 11th day of the ninth month, 9/11, which was yesterday. Again, I don't know when I'm going to record this or drop it, but obviously it's going to be right around the September 11 day, okay? So isn't that amazing? Look at that December 5th death date. Ozzy's birthday, December 3rd, and Ozzy just died as well as they're killing off these characters. You see that? July 22nd. Isn't that wild? Outlaw member dead. There it is. It's Young Noble. Remember, he died on the fourth day of the seventh month at age 47. And Tupac equals 47, right? And, a whole list of that's all politics as well. Tupac's got that 74, which is the seventh month and the fourth day with that death date. Remember, Independence Day has that as well. 74. And everything you see here is going to connect because notice that 277 with Independence Day right there. And even Ozzy died 227, which is like 277. So this stuff is wild, man. And of course, Ozzy born in 48. Donald Trump equals 48. So yeah, Outlaws O, Ozzy O, and their deaths were like right around the same time, right? So pretty amazing. Even Ozzy's got the middle name Michael, like Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson's birthday was a few weeks back. Okay, so isn't that see? So that's all we do, man. We hit on the Drewski Too Funny, 2 Chainz birthday, one day before the death anniversary of Tupac. You had that Paul Walker connection with the same birthday as Randy Walker. Was he Thug Life and Outlaws? Randy Walker, Thug Life or Outlaws? Or both? I don't know. Randy Walker, was he in the Outlaws? Geez, the internet ain't gonna work. And Walker is kind of like Wall, like Trump Wall, right? Ozzy Osbourne was kind of like an outlaw, possibly. You could possibly, maybe that's a stretch. He was in Thug Life. Again, I kind of connect Thug Life and Outlaws with the same thing. It's all connected to Tupac. But yeah, so look at how that works. You could just go on famous birthdays and scroll down. And who is that other one? There's 2 Chainz right there. PVD Biggie, like Biggie Smalls. And she was in a reality series, Baddies West. Think Bad, like Bad Boy, Diddy, and Biggie, right? Puff Daddy, Biggie, Bad Boy Records. Come on, man, right? And you get West, like the East Coast, West Coast beef. That also connects to Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, right, with the Bad Boys movies. Remember, we mentioned Christy Martin earlier because Sydney Sweeney's birthday is September 12th as well, which is right now as I'm recording, and she plays Christy Martin. See, she's number one on that list right there. So we had Charlie Kirk with that assassination. They say Tupac was assassinated. We go over all of this Tupac energy, okay, with his death anniversary, September 13, 9/11, these tragic events. Now we get this assassination. You get all these dead characters, all of the dead characters, including Ozzy Osbourne. So, this is just random, right? So, you just start from scratch. Okay, so I just wanted to come and just do that completely. I don't know if I'm going to label this on the fly. It's just kind of randomness. So I'll probably just title it like Random Tupac Energy or something like that. Well, it's not really random, right? But, anyways, it doesn't matter what the title is at this point. That's the video. Hopefully, it didn't go too long. Shout out, and I hope I can just get out there in the algorithm. It's not a joke that we're in a fake world, okay? It's like, ha ha ha, what are we going to do about it? I'm not saying we're going to do anything about it. I'm just saying that we need to probably, if we're going to use the internet or anything online, it should probably be something of value, like learning this fake system that we're in with, it's pro wrestling. Everything is pro wrestling to distract us. We need to at least recognize it, see what we can do to just get back to the basics, right? Family, just focusing on caring for one another a little bit more. Unfortunately, we have to like go to work and slave away. Try to make it work for you on a day-to-day basis. Try to make it work for you. Maybe try to use it as social interaction. Your bosses may not like that, but you just got to go day to day, right? As I will be off to try to do that here shortly, because we don't know what's going to happen after our time here is done. Like, so, again, it sounds like I'm babbling. But we need to recognize what's going on, and we've all been fooled and deceived. And it's okay to admit that, right? We weren't taught that we were living in a fake world. Remember, nobody accepted fake pro wrestling at first. The fans would get really mad, but the stuff is scripted, even though, they do get hurt. And I grew up a wrestling fan, okay? But if I would have just known the whole time it's script entertainment, it doesn't take much to figure out. But when you're a kid, that's the thing. Deceiving the young ones, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy BS. And then later on, they're like, princess fantasy, fairy tale. The stuff's not real. Then, if we would have known this at a younger age, we can't control our kids. We really can't. They got us working our slave jobs, right? They got the kids in school. They're going to get programmed, and then they're going to blame us. Oh, you could get arrested if you don't send your kid to school and all this BS. Oh, it's for their own protection. We're going to script events, where we send one of our agents in to create chaos at a school, and we're going to put a fence, we're going to give them badges, we're going to serve them food on trays, we're going to have cops outside in the parking lot, you're going to have to go through a metal detector. Yeah, it's for their safety. No, it's to instill fear, because that's what the world, they want you to be in fear. Be programmed. 8 hours of school, yeah, right, roughly 8 hours in the workforce. You know what I'm saying? The stuff is all a script. Thanks for listening to me babble. Until next time.